just being away from everybody and learning to meet new people and being in a new culture, it really brought us together, even more so than we already were, I feel like.
A lot of people knew me just walking around, and I don't know, it was a very much more intimate than I expected, which was great. I felt actually very safe because of that, but I also felt very intruded upon a lot of the time. There were so many times that I just wanted to walk home without having to say anything to anybody or be yelled at or harassed or anything. I just wanted to, go home and not talk about anything. But yeah, so it was very intimate, but that was good.
I searched for my birth mom. So when I was adopted, my adopted parents met my birth mom, but they didn't have a whole lot to say. She didn't speak any English or anything. Come to find out, what I did find out while I was there is that she was illiterate when she had me, and she was 19. And I just kind of found out the story, so why I was given up for adoption and kind of everything. So that was pretty interesting.
So the advisors in the program for the Italian teachers and the Learning Abroad program here on campus worked with us really closely because we were the first ones who had ever requested to do it as a married couple. So they worked with us.
Yeah, it was
really
awesome.
nicely, so
we got the biggest room.
Yeah, we did. It was nice.
It was kind of a smaller town, kind of a college town. And so we could go out to the pubs at night and sit down, and they found Americans fascinating. So it was really easy to make friends. And we made so many French friends. I found people in my same major, same interests. I think I practice actually writing French, emailing back and forth than I ever do in my classes. Same with my family. And then it's so much fun.
But I think play ping pong is very interesting. Yeah, in the union, it's very exciting to play with the professor.
My host family, at first, it was really scary because I remember I flew in from the airport and I got there at midnight, and I was still trying to figure out my Spanish and hopefully understand everything my host mom was telling me. And I remember her giving me a tour of the house, and the first thing she told me was she took me to my room, and I was like, okay, that's great. And then she took me to the bathroom, and I thought I interpreted that you weren't allowed to flush the toilet paper. And I know that sounds really weird, but I was like, either my Spanish, I'm interpreting this wrong, or you're really not allowed to flush the toilet paper here. So I avoided using the restroom for a couple days until I figured out and confirmed that you're really not allowed to use it. So I was impressed that I picked that up with my Spanish.
I would say that it was a second family. That sounds so cheesy. But I find myself getting homesick all of the time for France and my professors and my family, because you bond with people a lot more when you're away from everything that you know. And I have such great bonds with the people that I met while I was over there.
But when I left, I went and bought a cake for them. And it said, gracias mi familia, which is thank you, my family, because they had really treated me as a family member. I ate with them at the dinner table, they had a grandma living in the same house. They were so amazing. So I thought that was so meaningful that I was coming from another country. They didn't really know my background at all, and yet they were so accepting and so willing to take me to their home and teach me how to cook some of their food and taught me some salsa. I was terrible at it, but it was really fun.
The program had us housed with host families, and my host mom was about my age, so I call her my host mom, but she's 26, so it's kind of weird. But it was really interesting to look at how my lifestyle was different from hers, especially Spain is having a lot of economic issues, and to be a young person in Spain and a recent graduate of college and all of that, it was just so completely enlightening for me to see, not everyone goes to college and gets a job and just immediately everything's great. There's a lot of struggles beyond that, and especially internationally, it's really different. So that broadened that horizon just for me as peer-to-peer, and also just finding things that we could relate about. We went to concerts together and went surfing, and I met a lot of people there. And I just think finding commonalities between myself and people from all over the world was probably the most amazing thing.
And it was amazing for me to not just learn from and build relationships and meet new people, but also to connect with family, or in the long roundabout way, relatives of close friends local here in Salt Lake that I didn't know personally and had never met before, but when I met with them and interacted with them, it was as if we had known each other for years, and I felt like I was with family.
While I was there, I had a job, and that's in quotation marks because it was she was about 75, and she emailed the international director of the university saying, I want an American student to help me with my English. So I emailed her back and said, I can do that. And she paid like 25 euros every time you went, and I went twice a week, so I was like, that's easy money. But then we got so close, and she was really like a mother, grandmother, friend to me. And like, that's one of the things I miss the most, is this just going over there and drinking Irish coffee and reading books and talking with her. And I mean, she's been living in Graz. She lived through World War II in Graz. She was a little girl, and she had so many stories about that. And I think was really meaningful, because you don't get that over here. I mean, my grandfathers are both war veterans, but they didn't live through the war being fought in their country, you know. They were on the other side, and man, I miss her so much.
I actually lived at the host mother. She was great. She was kind of like the grandmother on Looney Tunes, about 5 foot tall, this shock of gray hair. She loved to play practical jokes on us, so I got to know her really well. I mean, she'd come into my room and just talk to me for about an hour and a half every single night, so my conversation got really good. It was great because we would do intercambios, which are language exchanges, so the Spanish-speaking students that wanted to learn English would partner with the English-speaking students who wanted to learn Spanish, and we'd kind of just meet and go have tapas and drinks and then just kind of talk to each other, and you just switch off. And from there, it's kind of supposed to be a jumping off point, because then you go and you meet their friends, and then you go and kind of get integrated into their community, and it's really cool.
Coming back, being able to connect on a deeper level with the older generations of people that, for example, the Tongan community, coming back from the Kingdom of Tonga, had a whole other perspective and view on a lot of the cultural aspects and worldviews that they bring. And I had never done that before. I used to just hang out with their kids, and they were my friends, and now I was able to actually talk to adults and things as well.
They had a really nice setup for the students that were going. Shitennoji Daigaku, they have a little area that's strictly for anybody that's learning English. So that was a place for us to go and hang out and get to know some of the other Japanese students there, and already have that ability to go and make new friends.
I made a lot of good friends there, and when you're there for so long, you know, you just become close with these people, and so there's no way, like for me, I might just go back every year.
One of the coolest things, I already mentioned this, but it's just the people you meet. You know, that's a meaningful impact in your life. Like, I have friends throughout a lot of continents, you know, from Asia, from all over the US, Brazil, Europe, because of study abroad. Because all those people were in that same town while I was there, and now they're back to their respective places. And it's, you know, I'm sure that if I ended up in their town someday traveling, you know, we would go out and have dinner or something like that, and it would be back to where we were. And it's like the experiences, it's like you elevate your experience so much, because you're not only in a different culture, you're studying with people from all over the world. You're hanging out with people from all over the world, you know.
Oh, I met one girl, she was like one of my, like almost like a mentor, a friend. She like taught me, like she would be willing to come to my dorm every day and teach me Chinese or help me with pronunciation. And so I still keep updated with her because she wants to come to America to study.
Well, one of the other reasons why I went is I got to see my girlfriend, who is Japanese and lives in Japan. So it didn't hurt to be in the city that was nearby her. And I got to go to her sister's wedding while I was there, and I got to meet the rest of her family, which was fun. I've been really wanting to do for over the entire 2 years we've been dating.
There was also a student that went with us from the U as well that he had family that lived there, and we got to go and stay with them and experience what it'd be like to, you know, live with a family there. And so we did make connections that way. So
Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, so there are connections that we have for
Yeah.
sure. And actually we have a tight-knit group of people that we went to Italy with now that are some of our best friends.
But then there was people that I met there that were studying from other schools. While I was there were schools from Florida, New York, Ohio that were studying at the same time. And I made friendships with them, which has opened up more doors for me because now I have people all on the East Coast and they've come to visit me and I've gone there, and it's just been, I mean, meeting people just opens up so many doors. You never know how you can affect somebody and how they can affect you.
I got to meet so many new people, and because we were there together every day, we had class every day, cultural excursions every day, we really got to know each other just within even the first week. And I even still talk to them today, even though it was like a year ago.